Next state to abolish the death penalty. A bill in front of lawmakers would not apply to the 7 men currently on Utah's death row, but it would prevent prosecutors from seeking the death penalty in the future.
Tonight, KSL investigator Daniela Rivera explains how this proposal is different from past efforts which have failed.
July 24th, 1984, an unthinkable crime. Brenda Lafferty and her daughter, 15-month-old Erica, suffered brutal deaths in their American Fork home. Brenda's brothers-in-law, Ron and Dan Lafferty, said God compelled them to kill the mother and her infant girl.
I wanted exactly what the state told me was justice.
Brenda's sister, Sharon Wright Weeks, was 15 at the time of the murders. For his part, Dan would receive life without parole and Ron Lafferty a death sentence, a promise to the victim's family of ultimate justice.
It was a counterfeit promise.
Ron Lafferty died of natural causes in 2019, having lived more than 3 decades on Utah's death row. During that time, he was awarded a retrial, received another guilty verdict, then pursued appeal after appeal.
I am now 53 years old. This has literally been my entire adult life.
She once hoped for an execution. Now Sharon is calling on lawmakers to do away with the death penalty.
She brought to me a perspective from a victim's standpoint that I hadn't really considered.
Republican Representative Lowry Snow is sponsoring House Bill 147.
Is there a better use of taxpayers' funds when we can never produce that outcome for society and we can't for the victim either?
It is a punishment that is an empty promise to victims.
Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill, a Democrat, and Utah County Attorney David Levitt, a Republican, both told the KSL investigators they're ready for the death penalty to die.
I simply could no longer justify saying we're going to seek a sentence which will likely never be carried out.
Legislative efforts to repeal the death penalty in 2016 and again in 2018 failed. The proposal in front of lawmakers this time is framed as a measure to repeal and replace. Right now, aggravated murder convictions can lead to death, life without parole, or 25 years to life. House Bill 147 would eliminate the death penalty, but it would also create an additional sentencing option of 45 years to life.
That new addition is a critical addition.
Those who want to see the death penalty become an element of Utah's past cite the re-victimization families like Sharon's have endured, the fact that innocent people have been sentenced to die in America, and the cost. According to a report presented to lawmakers in 2018, the Utah Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers found Utah spent $40 million during a 20-year period in which only 2 out of 165 death-eligible cases resulted in death sentences.
The Attorney General's office does oppose repealing death penalty.
Andrew Peterson says Utah's top law enforcer is against the bill.
The primary benefit is justice. Justice is giving each person what they deserve.
The last execution the state carried out was in 2010. Ronnie Lee Gardner had previously spent nearly 25 years on Utah's death row.
Are we really carrying out that justice?
Yes, it's true. The wheels of justice grind slowly. We would like to see it go faster, but that's not a reason to repeal it.
Some argue the death penalty is used now as a tool to force plea deals, allowing the state to secure life sentences without proving cases at trial. Using court records, the KSL investigators analyzed death penalty eligible cases during the last 15 years and only identified 24 in which prosecutors filed formal notices of intent to seek the death penalty. But none of those cases have gone to trial. In fact, half have ended in plea deals, and in another 5, prosecutors withdrew their death penalty notices.
If the death penalty weren't being used as leverage, you'd see death penalty cases going to trial.
The Attorney General's office argues without it, the price of prosecutions will rise.
So if you want to obtain the top sentence for the worst of the worst, you're going to have to take it to trial.
While the AG's office argues people sentenced to life file plenty of appeals too, those who want the death penalty repealed say death row inmates become notorious, capturing the curiosity of the public through headlines as they exhaust their rights to appeal.
People have a fascination with death row and with death row inmates. Putting someone in prison for life, no one remembers them.
Do you consider the death penalty to be a form of justice?
No,
Why?
because it's not a real thing. It doesn't happen.
Sharon is pushing for change now because through her family's own painful journey, she's come to believe there's a better way.
Just allow the person who so heinously took your loved ones to fade into obscurity and never speak their name again.
Top legislative leaders and Governor Spencer Cox have not said whether they back the bill, and it hasn't been debated at the Capitol yet. Back to you.